How you guys doing? I wanted to share some ideas that are out there and that I share about specialization. So when I was coming up in fitness, so I'm 45 years old. I've been through all sorts of stuff, all sorts of beliefs. I've tried countless training systems, um, and I've been involved in a lot of different sports at a high level. Was a soldier for 20 years, played high level basketball, long distance events. I was a fighter. And really, but the main thing for me is I've been an arm wrestler and just a general lover of fitness. Okay, so I mean to say what I'm about to say with the utmost respect for everybody out there and everybody who accomplishes great things in any field. One of the concepts that I was kind of brought to believe at a very young age was whatever you do, you get better at. And this was told to me, and it's a very simple concept, and it just means that whatever you practice, whatever you invest time in, you will improve at. I think that this is something that we can all pretty much accept with basically any amount of data that you get in any field. But then there's other things like the fitness field, like the fitness industry. People will say a lot of ideas that were thrown at me throughout my fitness career were principles of balance, and principles of I guess diversity and kind of a roundabout way of getting gains in your field. So for example, um, you talk about muscle symmetry, and um, I'm approaching this problem as somebody who wants to be really, really good at one thing. And I also want to maintain my standard of living, my quality of life to a certain degree. Okay. But I really am focused on being good at one thing. I'm not a generalist. Okay. I'm not trying to win the CrossFit games, or, I'm not trying to just walk around in a perfect state of health. I commend those people. I think it's awesome. Maybe one day I'll get there, but right now I'm still trying to, you know, do crazy things like win world championships in arm wrestling. So um, there's the ideas about balance. I think the reason why people are told about balance is that there's a belief that balance works hand in hand with injury prevention, and injury prevention is a super big deal in anything you're trying to do. You don't want setbacks. You want to be able to keep on moving forward. You don't want injuries to slow your progression. And it's generally believed that balance is a big part of that. And I'll tell you that I somewhat disagree with that. And I'll get back to that. And another thing that I've heard is that things like when you work out your legs, you release more test and more growth hormone, and therefore it feeds your body's ability to heal and process and all this kind of thing. And while there may be some truth to that, there's also things that I believe that when you start to talk like that, you're missing other things. And I'll get back to that. So I'm at a place now where um, I've seen a lot in my sport, and just based off of what I've tried to do with my life, it's led me to a place where I believe that when addressing balance, uh, you're really only required to be safe in the environment that you operate in. So years ago, when I was exposed to all sorts of different physical stressors, okay, I used to have to wear armor. I used to have to run around and do a million different things. It was important for my whole body to be really strong and resilient, uh, just so I didn't get hurt. Um, but I'll tell you, when I trained like this, when I trained for total body, maintenance, I'll tell you, I was hurt consistently. I was living a harder life, but I was hurt consistently. Um, and the interesting thing was, really, you just need to be prepared for whatever it is that life is going to throw at you. So if you're living out in the wilderness and you're being exposed to any number of random things, then yeah, you better be prepared for that. But if you have a more simple life and you can kind of control what it is that you're being exposed to, at least on a physical level, then you might not need to be anywhere near as balanced as most people in modern fitness culture suggest that you need to be. Okay, and I'm not just saying this from a guessing perspective. Uh, I'm saying that it's been my experience. When I've trained specifically for the environment that I think that I'm getting into, so long as I don't get thrown into a different environment, I actually feel much healthier on the whole. I carry less injuries on the whole, and I'm better prepared for whatever it is that I'm actually going into. The next thing about, like, for example, working your legs, or working some different movement or different stressor to overall help your body as a whole. I believe that there may be some truth to that. However, I think that the body is actually more limited, and you actually only have so much energy. Energy, I don't think, just comes from nowhere. I think it comes from the food that we eat, and you only have so much to work with. Your digestive system can only bring so much energy into your blood. It's basically that simple, I think. So it's up to you what you do with it. If you spread it around everywhere, you'll have great general development. If you focus it, you'll be more focused. So now on to, like, specifically what I've noticed and where I'm going. So I've arm wrestled for a long time. In any competitive sport, you're going to get injuries. I've had tons of injuries throughout my career. I've had a few surgeries related to the sport of arm wrestling. And there was one, and listen, I started out being like, I'm going to train my right arm, I'm going to train my left arm, I'm training them both as hard as I can, and I'm training my whole body. So this is a long evolution for me to get to where I am now. Now, I started to notice that in times of injury, so for example, if I say hurt my left arm, that right away I would notice that my right would very quickly kind of get a whole lot stronger. And same thing for my right. If my right got hurt, my left would get stronger. And this was a consistent thing that I was noticing over the course of my entire arm wrestling career. And I'd talk about that with other arm wrestlers. And yeah, kind of the joke in arm wrestling is that you can only really have one good arm at a time, which is not totally true. Sometimes you can have two, but for the most part, when one goes down, the other one somehow is able to pick up the slack, which is very interesting. Now, so I started to expand on that subject a little bit. When I first started arm wrestling, I used to laugh at a lot of the old-time pullers. A lot of the old-time pullers, they used to describe the right arm as the money arm, because back, many years ago, and actually it's kind of come full circle a little bit, the real money was in the right arm, and the left arm, there was nobody really pulled with the left for anything really. So when I was getting into the sport, most guys had like a monster right, and their left was kind of more normal. And I, at the time, I thought it was kind of silly. And yeah, they used to call it the money arm. But I started to notice that there was really something to that. And then you see athletes like Oleg Zak, Matthias Schulte, who somehow have stumbled on this, probably by some kind of fate or genetic lottery. But they're only the beginning of something. Like, there's actually now many lesser known guys that are just like those dudes coming up in the ranks. You can see them. But to me, it speaks about blood flow, and it speaks about focus and specialization. I started to, years ago, when I had a big match coming up, I started to focus on the one arm much more than the other. So if I had a right hand super match, I would just, kind of focus on it. I'd still train both, but I'd focus more on the one arm. It's got to a point where, I guess about 2 years ago, when I got flattened by Dennis, I really gave it a good solid shot. So during the WL season, it was all right hand. I focused on my right for the season, then we switched, had a few months, and I just really focused on the left. Even though he killed me, I still had a lot of good gains leading up to the match. Match was done. I focused back on the right for the most part, still training both. Then leading up to Wagner, I gave it another solid shot where I really focused on my left hand. And I found that these periods of focus were very noticeable, because I keep track of everything in my training, like how fast I'm improving, things like that. And when you split your focus, not even to like general training or I'm an upper body guy or lower body guy, when you split it all the way down to I am a one-handed human being, the rate that you can improve in this one special place is so much faster. Is it as fast as the sum of all the gains you could have in your whole body into your one arm? Probably not, but there's some kind of math there where you realize that it's much higher than were you training those other body parts. So this advanced to after Wagner. So after Wagner, I kind of knew that I was going to be pulling Michael Todd. And I look at where I'm at now in my career, and I'll tell you guys, it is tough. It is tough to get to that high level, okay? You have to do so many things right. And what I kind of planned to do was, I'm going to really put everything in my right. I'm going to put everything in my right and let my left slide a bit, just like normal. So that took me up until about Christmas. About Christmas. And my right was making awesome gains. Really awesome. I was really happy. Started to get a gym membership. I was doing like just easy standard stuff just for health. I wasn't pushing. And then all my arm wrestling stuff I was pushing with my right arm. My left, not really. Like, I do a couple warm-up sets with it, and then that was it. Still arm wrestling in the club, hard with both arms. And then COVID hit. COVID hits, gyms shut down, practices shut down. So I had to think what I wanted to do. And I thought it was time to run a new experiment, which I love to do. So I thought, okay, everything. I'm going to try everything. Now, I've done a lot of strange experiments in the past, but I was like, I'm not even going to train my left at all. Not even at all. Like, nothing. And I'm just pushing my right. That's it. And so probably since mid-March, I haven't even done table time. I haven't even done warm-up sets. It's been all right arm. And yeah, really interesting what happened. Gains have been fantastic, really good, really consistent. I feel like, I feel like my right is way more jacked. Not just my arm, but like my whole right body side. Like when I walk now, I feel like my right side is heavy, my light side is light. Like there's just way more musculature on the right half of my body, and my left is kind of going back to normal. And I'm actually, I think it's at this stage in my career, I think it's really funny. I don't want to stop arm wrestling with my left because I just enjoy arm wrestling, but I think it's just going to be on a different level. It'll be like more human. And I just want to have like one Hellboy arm. So I've kind of reverted back to, what it was that was shown to me when I first got into sport. I'll tell you, obviously this isn't going to be for everybody, but I'm going to tell you that a lot of the myths that are out there about things like balance and being cross-specialized, to me, if you want to do things like win a world championships or be really, really great at anything, I feel that specialization is probably one of your best friends. And you should invest heavily in exactly the one thing that you want to accomplish. And so for me, I don't know, I think I'm going to run with this. I'm going to run with this for a while. I'm going to have a human arm, just an arm that's there for the party, like I'll arm wrestle anybody, I don't care. And then I want to have one Hellboy arm that is still, hopefully taking a shot at that world level. I'll keep rocking that as long as I can. Anyways, I just want to let you guys know, people who watch this, people who are involved in fitness, that you don't have to be scared of specialization. I'll tell you, I feel fantastic. I mean, if you talk to most health professionals, they'd probably, if you told them I'm just going to work out one arm, a lot of them would probably be like, oh, you're going to get injured badly, you're going to overtrain. It's not true. It's not true. As long as things are progressive, you can invest in whatever it is you love. All right, well, see that? I'm going to be like Oleg, Matthias. I'm going to be like the next one, and by the time I'm 60. Have a good day.